Today's big issue, should it ever be okay to pirate comics? Okay, so Brian K. Vaughan's Private Eye #2 just came out, and he released in the back of his book, he's talking about how it did really well. A lot of people paid for it when they had the option to completely not to and not be morally obliged to. And that's got a lot of people talking about, comic books and piracy and torrenting and all that business. Quite a controversial issue in the comic book community, probably more so, I would say, than film and something like that, because it feels more personal. I don't know why. It's just kind of my sort of take on it. It's a smaller industry. It feels like it hurts more.
No, I see what you're saying.
But so we're just gonna talk about it. We're gonna move around the issues a bit. Where do you stand on this? Is it ever okay to pirate a comic book?
Is it okay to pirate a comic book? There are. I suppose the biggest thing with that is saying I always thought that older comics should be okay. Things like Action Comics #1, because how else are you going to read it? It's old. You can't buy it in the shops anymore.
You can buy it
but you can buy it in those Masterworks now.
And you can also buy it online for $1.99.
And you can buy it online. So that's kind of changed the medium of that. So there is this kind of question of moral ambiguity there, and is it if you're buying comic books every week and you think, I don't know if I want to pick that up. I kind of want to give it a test read first, and you read it online, you pirate it and you don't pay for it. Is that okay if you then go and buy it, or is it okay if you if you are supporting the industry and you're still giving money?
I don't know. Is it?
I personally think so. I think so because, and I'll tell you why. I think that comic books are very expensive. £2.20, £3 you're looking at per comic. It's a lot of money, and I'd say for people like ourselves, we're buying sometimes up to 10 books a week. Is it seriously hurting Marvel if we go, you know what, I'm buying a lot of books right now. I kind of want to read X-Men Legacies. I just want to see what that's like, the first issue of that. However, saying that, I think continuous piracy, where you start downloading issue after issue after issue, is wrong. Because if you like a book that much, you should be paying for it. You should go out and you should buy it. That's kind of my 2 cents on that. If you want to try it out, if you want to see what it's like, okay. It's not the best thing to do, but okay. Otherwise, you should be paying for it if you're buying it all the time.
I think what's difficult about that is, where do you draw the line? Because if you say to yourself, well, okay, in some instances, it's okay. In some instances, someone's paying. I mean, I on a good month, I'm spending £100, $150 a month on comics.
Yeah,
I just am. So you're saying, well, it might be okay in those instances if someone's spending that much, download, and it isn't okay. It's very hard to find a line to draw there. Everyone's circumstance is completely different.
Oh, yeah.
I think I fall on this where I just think, it's hard because every argument against piracy is kind of stupid. For piracy is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
You can say all the arguments that anyone said, but you can say, well, the people who are downloading comics wouldn't necessarily have bought them anyway, so no one's losing any money. That all kind of comes across as quite hokey. I think, this is just something that has to be dealt with now, and I think it's probably you do it on an individual basis. You do it if you're okay with it. If you can handle it, a lot of the times I think you barter. You would say, oh, well, I pay this much money, or I do this, and it's on a moral thing. Especially with comics, you're quite close to the creators. You follow them on Twitter, you read their books. It's sort of, it feels close, unlike films, I think. So it's there's a guilt thing there. It's how can your conscience handle it? So I think if you say that one person could download, if you say that one guy who is spending loads of money on books and he just wants to read one comic to try and figure out whether he's going to like a series, it's okay for him, but it's not okay for the guy, I don't know, who doesn't maybe have a lot of money, but he likes comics in his spare time. Maybe he has hard life or something, it's not okay for him, I think you get yourself in a bit of trouble. I think if it's good for one, it's got to be good for all.
Yeah, I definitely do see where you're coming from there. Yeah, I mean, again, I feel as though it is a personal moral choice. If you're looking at every book that comes out that week and going, I'm just going to download all of them, that's kind of messed up, in my opinion. That's kind of messed up. If you're looking at all your books and you go, maybe there's that one that I could just download, then that's fair enough. But yeah, for me, it's your own personal moral choice.
You're okay with anyone making that choice. You're not judging. Someone says, listen, I don't have enough to spend on income. I want to read comics. I just download them all. You're okay with making that choice for themselves.
Are there not enough free comic books out there for them to read on Comixology? And there are a lot of books on there.
No, you don't want to read the crappy free comic books that they give you. You want to read
or the
classic Batman run or the classic Iron Man run.
Well, that's very true. Yeah, I do see where you're coming from there. But I suppose there is a kind of question of, well, if you can't pay for that classic Batman run, you shouldn't be reading that classic Batman. You can read some of the other stuff that's out there. Like,
that's what I'm saying, but you're drawing lines there, aren't you? You're saying some people, I'm fine. You, no. I just think you get into trouble when you say that. Whereas I'm standing on the fence and I'm saying everyone make their own decision.
How is it there on the fence? Like
no, I'm not. I mean the other side of the fence. I'm saying I'm cool with everyone making their own decision. I'm cool with the person who spends £100 a month on comic and wants to try something out. I'm also cool with the person who just wants to download them all. I guess I don't think it hurts the industry. That's ultimately what I'm trying to say.
I definitely don't think it does, because I think the thing with comic books, more so than film or TV, is that comic books and graphic novels fall in that, I'm going to say, vinyl stage, in that it's a collection. You are starting to build a collection, and so I think a lot, if not the majority of comic book readers, want to own it. Like, I think it's pretty much consensus across the board that everyone prefers reading it physically, and people enjoy owning these things. So I mean, I don't think it is hurting the industry, because people are going out and buying these things.
Well, I think the thing is, I don't have any stats to back this up, but I would wager that now we're in a sort of boom, and maybe it's just because we're in it.
Well, I feel
like now a lot of comic books are being sold, say, to compared to 10 years ago.
I feel as though they're being very clever, especially compared to 10 years ago. I mean, it's still not at the height it was back in the 50s and 60s. I mean, back then they were selling millions a month, whereas now, like, there was honestly a stage in comics where 6 million was the best that could sell of a book, whereas now 100,000 is the best that can sell of a book. So it has dropped a bit, but I mean, that's just as the audiences have changed. It's not kids buying them anymore. It's
I think companies. I think there are certain things that companies can do to make it less likely.
Well,
their digital pricing is wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's just wrong.
It shouldn't cost me the same for a physical as it does for a digital.
Absolutely not. Not
it
only that,
with albums,
the back
with
issues. You know, if I think to myself, "Oh, this book, it's out of print."
Yeah.
Right. It's out of print. I'm gonna go on the app. It's 12 comics or something. They're all £2 each.
It's not good.
That's horrendous.
I mean, I have to look at it like, you know, you have to look at when films went digital, you know, when you start getting digital downloads. It didn't cost £10 for the digital download like it did for the DVD. It cost £5 because you don't have to make a DVD. You don't have to
own
make a box, and you don't own it. With the comic books, it should be exactly the same. If I don't get something physical, you don't have to pay manufacturing costs. You shouldn't be charging me manufacturing costs.
I think what they're scared will happen is, say they say, well, we'll slash the price, we'll cut it off. They're scared then that everyone will just go over to digital and no one will buy physical. That would 100% not be the case for me.
And would it push... But if that slash means a lot of people switch over to digital, doesn't mean the price of the regular books is going up by $1 or £1. And would you then continue to keep buying it if the price started getting nudged up?
I know for a fact, if it got to a point where I couldn't afford physical comic books, I think I'd rather... I mean, I don't have anything particularly against digital, but I think I would probably just fall out of favor for reading comics.
I agree, because the whole comic book reading it is an experience for me, and that experience comes with the physical copy, and I like having a physical book.
I especially like the trade. Like
I'd certainly switch if the prices started going up. I'd certainly switch from singles to trades. But yeah, you're really hurting your audiences.
I think a lot of the time, especially now, they're getting the pricing very wrong. They're getting it wrong with the trades, and they're getting it wrong with the digital. And I think that hurts them more than anything. And I don't know whether they've got the comic book stores in mind, but I genuinely think if they could, I mean, for the back issues, come on.
Oh no!
You can't charge me that much for those old back
even
issues.
99 cents is
when
a little bit.
It's so easy to get them elsewhere if I want to, and not only that, there's no moral implication.
Yeah.
There might be, but it's so small and hidden under layers and layers of, you know.
Hey, listen, let's be fair. Jack Kirby ain't missing your Fantastic Four purchase.
Exactly. So there's almost you don't have any moral implication to pay the ridiculous prices on the store.
Yeah.
You can just go and buy a torrent, whatever. Yeah. So, and not only that, you own it. You download the torrent, it's yours. Do what you want with it.
Give it to your mates. Print it off.
Throw it in a USB pen. Send it over email. Do what you like with it. So
Print it off, eat it.
I think in general,
it's yours.
I think in general, there are things that the industry is doing wrong that are making more people pirate comics. At the same time, you're never going to get rid of it, and you need to adapt. You know, you need to put your irons in other fires. You need to make people want to buy your physical copies, whether that's making them more attractive or whether that's lowering the prices.
Well, Marvel tried with that. The AR and the digital downloads, but I don't think either of those have worked.
I think Marvel are doing a better job than DC.
Oh, much better. Like, DC seem to just, as far as digital go, they seem to just be going la 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 with their physical copies. Like, they're just completely ignoring it.
Yeah.
But
Marvel are trying different stuff. They've got the music thing coming out. They've got the motion comics, and they've got all this different stuff. And I think they're doing a better job. But I think generally the industry could do better.
I agree, sir, and we want to know what you guys think.
Yeah, it's a hot button issue, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So, what are your opinions on piracy in comic books? Leave comments down below. We'd love to hear from y'all.
Yeah, I'll be in all about them, talking to you about it. It's a very interesting topic, and I'm very interested to see what you guys think.
I won't. I'm too lazy and I don't like any of you. I'm joking. I love you all.
All right, that's all from us this week. Follow us on Twitter if you want. It's @ComicBookShow1. Until next time, we'll be seeing you.
I love you guys. I'm sorry.
Lol.